everybody. How everyone doing today? My name is Kayvon Hill. I'm part of 360 Adjuster Academy, part of the marketing team. Welcome to 100K Club Week 29. Our topic for this month has been new beginnings. To give a self-introduction of myself, I am an insurance adjuster, independent insurance adjuster. I've been an adjuster for about 2 years now. I've worked multiple deployments all over the United States. I acquired my license back in 2021. I started my first deployment in May of 2022, and from that point on, I did stay working consistently. I would say that it's been a lot of challenges being an adjuster, but like I always say, I have no regrets when it comes to the decision that I made. It definitely was a fearless decision that I made, which you guys will hear more about being fearless very, very soon. Um, and just the topic of the past month, new beginnings. I would say what new beginnings means to me is a fresh start, a clean slate. Um, it's very important to have new beginnings. In life, at times we can carry the burdens of past decisions, past mistakes, past experiences. So I would say that for me, with being an adjuster, you have to embody the concept of new beginnings, because you're going to make a few mistakes as an adjuster. It's a lot that we have to do. It's a lot that we have to remember. A lot of decisions that we have to make. And, sometimes you're going to fall short. Sometimes you're going to forget to do certain things. Sometimes you might forget a camera charger or, make a mistake. But you have to release those mistakes that you make and, start over sometimes. Say, hey, that was a rough week for me, but, this upcoming week is new beginnings for me. It's just like sports, like everyone was just talking about. You make a bad play, you have to start over. It's new beginnings. It's like my coach used to tell me, the score is 0-0, and it could have been the third or fourth quarter, and we're up, it's new beginnings. So I would say that's a very important thing to remember, when it comes to new beginnings. Leave things where they are in the past and just continue to plow forward. So with that being said, I would like to announce today our guest speaker, 360 Adjuster Academy's own Miss Tobbie Ro. And she is the COO of our company. And I'll let Coach K Joy give a self-introduction for Tobbie. But before we go on and transfer to that, I would like to remind everyone that's in our meeting today to please fill out the feedback form for us. We would love to get your information and, get some feedback from you all. And if you do have any questions that you need answers for, please feel free to drop a question in the chat that we have. A team member will get back to you as soon as we possibly can. And even if you have questions after today's meeting, feel free to find us on our socials. We'll drop a link in the chat for you all to follow us on our socials. And please feel free to reach out to us. We're a welcoming community full of like-minded individuals. And we all have adjuster experience. So we would like to give you guys some feedback and some information that you may be looking for. So I'll go ahead and transfer over to Coach K Joy if you would like to come on and say a little bit about Tobbie.
Hello, 360 Academy. Good evening. Thanks for definitely taking your time tonight to join us. We hear a lot of football fans on here, so we know some of them are probably watching it in the background or maybe missing a little bit of time watching the game. So we appreciate that. Hopefully you'll find definitely value in what's coming from Ms. Tobbie Ro for sure. But a little introduction on myself. I've been in insurance for 18 years, been adjusting since 2007 on the auto and property side. I've been on the IA side of the house and the staffing side. Not only just adjusting, but also in the leadership realm. So definitely like to be able to share that knowledge and experience. And I've been thankful for joining this community to be able to do so. When I think about new beginnings, since that is our continued topic, my biggest thing that comes to mind is it's really inevitable, team. There's no way you can get around it. If you choose not to walk into new beginnings, you're probably stifling yourself way more than you know, and definitely undeserving to yourself, right? So when I think about new beginnings, though, and how I got into adjusting due to coming out of a recruiting opportunity that was under contract, and my contract was going to be up in 6 months. I wasn't going to have a job, and I got an opportunity to join a large insurance company, and my dad pretty much was like, you don't have an option. You're living at home, you're out of college, you're going into insurance. So that's how my new beginning started with insurance, but definitely my journey for getting into claims was a choice for sure. It was an opportunity to promote and make more money. I knew that there was stability there, but I also knew that there was going to be a lot of great things to learn and new challenges to come. But we have one of our very own tonight to share with you her own opportunities and things to share. Our amazing Tobbie Ro. She is, like you heard Kayvon say, one of our very own. She is our COO at 360. She's passionate about impact in both the professional and community realms. Tobbie brings 29 years of oil and gas expertise as well. She's an advocate for domestic violence awareness, along with women's support, financial freedom. Tobbie is more than just an adjuster, not just a seasoned adjuster, but she's also a compassionate community leader that's dedicated to community service. I'm looking forward to what she's going to share with us tonight. If you've ever joined us when she's shared, normally drops a ton of knowledge for us team. So let's welcome our very own Tobbie Ro, COO, that's going to share with us tonight about new beginnings. Miss Tobbie, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everyone. After those introductions, I almost expected to hear a drum roll because they were so good. I appreciate you guys a lot. I really do. So, our topic for the month is new beginnings, and every one of us here on this call are experiencing new beginnings, not just you new adjusters who may or may not have your license, but even us 360 adjusters, the core team members, we are also experiencing new beginnings, right? When we started out as insurance adjusters, never ever did we ever before think that we were going to be a part of a business organization like this or a community like this that provides so much information to individuals who are reaching out and seeking a new beginning of their own. So going from corporate into independent adjuster territory, back into a semi-corporate environment is a new beginning for us as well. It's really exciting, and we all have to make changes in our lives, in our mindsets, make adjustments so that we are successful. All of us are successful at doing this. Sometimes we get into, as independent adjusters, we get into this mindset that we're all on our own. We're out there performing duties all by ourselves. Some of us have our own little side business, but the majority of us are solopreneurs. But now when we are forming a business, we have to adjust. We have to make changes in the way we handle business. We have to pull back. We have to move forward. There's so many adjustments that we have to make in order to make sure that we're successful in achieving the goals and visions that we set forth in these new beginnings. And so I want to touch base on kind of each different level that we have of our independent adjusters. First of all, we have some pre-licensed adjusters, I'll call them. Those are our individuals in the community that are attending to receive information on how to become an adjuster. Do I want to become an adjuster? Is this an opportunity that would provide success for me? So in doing so, all of you are attacking those new beginnings by attending these lab calls. You are putting yourself in miracle territory. You're surrounding yourself with other like-minded individuals that are going to provide you information, feedback, and steps to become successful. But that's a new beginning for you, right? All of the steps that you're taking are things that are going to push you forward. Doing the research on what an insurance adjuster does, doing the research on how to become an insurance adjuster, getting peer-to-peer contact to make sure that this is a lifestyle that's going to suit you. Those are all steps to push you forward in your new beginning. So then we have the newly licensed adjuster. Those are the people who've made a decision for new careers or new journeys. and they're connecting with industry peers, right? They're reaching out to other licensed insurance adjusters, whether it be in this lab call, whether it be on Facebook groups. They're networking, they're making industry connections. We heard Coach K-Joy last week talk about all the opportunities on the mindset that you have to go through when you're making these career changes to become a new you, essentially, right? You have to change every part pretty much about your life and what you thought your life was going to be in the career that you had chosen, either at a very early age or not. Um, as they had introduced me, I was in oil and gas for over 29 years. I was upper level management, focusing on process improvement, compliance, and processes and procedures. And I was in the industry for so long that it just became a part of who I was. Just so
Right.
happens that it fits with my personality style, which is air traffic control. For any of you who don't know, but I am very process oriented, very step by step, um, step by step focused, very goal oriented. And so it just kind of fell in line with my personality in general. But I thought that's who I was going to be for the rest of my career. There was a downturn in the economy, a downturn in the market itself, fluctuating back and forth, and I lost my job 3 times in 6 years. The last time that I lost my job, which most of you know, I've mentioned this a few different times, I was unemployed for 8 months. For a single mother of 4 children, 3 in the household, ah, that's not really something that, you ever get used to. You constantly live in a fight or flight mode when you are um you feel like a failure, right? You feel like a failure in those instances, and you have to find a new way to begin. And when Travis came to me and explained to me, insurance adjusting, you can make some good money, you can do it, this will go along with what you're used to doing. Um, Reading policy and procedures, and making sure that those steps are followed in order to come out to the benefit of the policyholder. And I was very fearful, but very fearful because it was such a change. um but I had to uh look that challenge just directly in the eye so that I could push forward on this new beginning for myself. And so that's what all of you newly licensed adjusters are doing as well. You've made a decision for a new life. You've made a decision for a career change. And so I would say at this point, you have gone through the steps to research on how to become an adjuster, how to become licensed. And now what you want to start doing is start to prepare your family. Um, us
Right.
adjusters are gone for months on end. We are hundreds of miles away from home, and the closest connection that you can make to us is a FaceTime call. So, if you haven't already prepared your family in a way to set them up for success as well, I would say at this point, that's something that you would want to do. You want to explain the boundaries of when they can contact you. You want to explain the boundaries of uh, how tedious, how um, mentally exhausting this job can be. And I have mentioned previously, one of the things that I do to avoid distractions is, to let my family members know you can contact me from this time to this time, and listen, it's an emergency. If it's an emergency, reach out to me in a different way, and to let me know that it is an emergency. Um when I became an adjuster, my youngest son was only 15 years old. Uh, my daughter, who is a part of 360 Adjuster Academy, a member of the training department, had just recently moved out of the household and got engaged. And he had to stay home by himself. So I prepared him. Well, technically, I prepared him his entire life because I was such a workaholic. But I set him up with Walmart Plus so that he was able to have his groceries delivered. He knew how to cook particular meals himself. but we had everything set in place that would help him be successful as a permanent quote unquote latchkey kid, right? So I would suggest to all of you, if you have an elderly parent who is going to be left home by themselves, make sure you have a backup plan for somebody to look after them. Make sure that you have somebody to look over your home. If you are a single family member, someone who will keep an eye out on your house while you're at home. These are all things that you can do to make sure that your distractions are very limited while you're away. Um, Make sure that your family members also know who to contact in case of emergency, in case they can't reach you, and make sure that you have an emergency contact as well. So so I would also add that, the next level of adjusters that we are going to focus on are your seasons adjusters. We are preparing for new beginnings as well. We're preparing for a new season, right? Most of us who just came off deployment, some of us may have came off early in the summer. Some of us may have came off in the fall that was teetering on winter, but these were a majority of wind claims in particular, maybe a little bit of hail, but primarily wind, because the different types of deployments follow the seasons, obviously, right? The earlier in the year storms are going to be your winter deployments. But that all being said, you want to make sure that you're prepared and ready to go at the drop of a hat. I've also mentioned previously the way that my pre-licensing and licensing to deployment journey happened. It was very quick, right? I attended my pre-licensing course. I was licensed within a week and a half. I was deployed 3 weeks in total after I attended my pre-licensing course. So once they contact you for deployment, you are going to have to leave within usually 24 to 48 hours. Sometimes you have to be on site in 48 hours. So for the seasons adjusters also, we have to make sure that we are prepared for that deployment and within that season. So many of you know that Dennis and I work as a team. We have our totes prepared. They're stocked, locked, and ready to go. But you'll want to make sure, since this is a new season, that you have winter clothes or you have spring clothes, or once the season changes, you have fall clothing. You want to make sure that your tools are season ready as well. You want to make sure that your licenses have all been renewed for the year. So that's not something that is, or have a reminder that's going to notify you once they are expiring so that you can have those renewed and not have that as a distraction as well when you are on deployment. If Side note, if your license does expire, you can have them renewed. They just cost you a little bit of extra money. But who wants to waste the additional money if you don't have to? So, as we're facing these new beginnings for new seasons, we want to make sure that we're prepared. And we speak on that a lot. And again, when you're preparing for a new deployment, there's been instances that Dennis and I have been home for as little as a week in between deployments. We were gone for 8 months. We were home for a week. We left for 5 months. So one of the things that you have to make sure that you do is come home very quickly, attentively, deal with everything that you couldn't deal with while you were away. Whether it's doctor's appointments, whether it's make sure you touch base with family members. That's a big thing for me because I have a fairly large family. When you're gone for those lengthy periods of time, you don't get to interact with your family. You miss a lot of holidays, you miss a lot of birthdays, you miss a lot when you're in those moments. So when you are home, make sure that you spend time with those loved ones preparing for that next deployment. Because they are, they can be very lengthy, and they can get very lonely on you as an adjuster, but it can also get very lonely on your family members because they're not used to being without you in their lives. I don't know if I already said this, but one other thing that I've had to make sure that I am attentive to in between deployments is doctor's appointments. When you're away on deployment, you don't have your regular doctors. You don't have the ability to just run and have your blood work done so that your primary care physician can review those results and make sure that your maintenance medications are taken care of and things like that. So make sure that when you are in that home, our home in between deployments, you are using that time very resourcefully and find the value and the importance in all of that. Um, One other thing that you need to make sure that you prepare for with new beginnings are new firms. Okay. It's very important to focus on any type of self improvement or self growth that you can in between these deployments as well, because the management changes from firm to firm. In the beginning of my career, I worked primarily for an independent adjusting firm called QA, and their attitude, their culture, and the way they handle independent adjusters, it is much different than two deployments later when I switched over to Alacrity, right? Um, it's just a very different culture. And so if you're able to fluctuate and be fluid in the way you deal with your upper management and policyholders, which will make you successful, it'll make your management like you a lot better. Um, it's also very beneficial to do that. So, one of the ways that we hope that you all will focus on the self improvement part is taking the flight assessment, finding out what your personality style is, learning how to read other individuals' personality styles, and doing the study and doing the research on the proper ways to deal with the different personality styles. Because believe it or not, that will go a very long way in the field. As we've talked time and time again, you do not want to be a grounds crew individual trying to speak to a pilot and just let them know it's okay, I'll be here for you, just give me a call. No, they want to know how to properly protect, how to secure their investment, and how to move forward in the time of disaster. And so if you just explain to them the proper way that you're going to walk them through that process, it will mean a lot more to a pilot than it will a grounds crew who is a little more empathetic and would like to have that empathetic ear listening to them. But I don't want to cut it short, but that's all I've got for you guys tonight. Um, Focusing on new beginnings is at various stages for various individuals in the community, and as a community, we are here to support you. If any of you have any questions from the pre-licensing to the licensing to the deployment process or preparing for deployment, reach out to any one of us core team members and we can walk you through that process. And it looks like Travis has a question.
Good stuff, Miss Ro. So my question is this: as a new adjuster, what was your hardest thing that you had to get through and get over? And now looking back, that's number one. And looking back at it now from your eyes as being doing it for a little while now, what would you tell that person? Hey, what would your advice be to yourself when you first started?
I would say for me, the hardest part in the beginning was being alone. I'm a mother of four and I come from a very large family. So I am always in constant communication and contact with my family members. As you yourself, Travis, knows, you know, I used to spend every weekend with my nephews and my nephews' families. We would have Sunday dinners every Sunday. And in my home, there would be on any given Sunday, no pun intended, any given Sunday, there would be 25 to 30 people of my close loved ones. So going out on deployment and being without your loved one and your family members was really difficult for me. And it really was every single deployment. I would say for probably the first 4 or 5 deployments, I really went through kind of a little mini depression for about the first. Okay, so the first week you go on deployment, it's all, thrown at you. It's so busy. You got to play catch up because everybody's behind because they dump 40, 50 claims on you at once. You kind of forget about everybody at home, right? That first week, you're just focused on scheduling appointments, getting those busters mapped out so that you can schedule those appointments in allowing yourself the best opportunity to deal with those appointments in the shortest amount of time. And so that first week, everything is kind of so crazy and hectic. You don't miss anybody. You don't care what's going on at home. You barely even care if you sleep. The second week, it kind of starts to creep in, right? Nobody seems to need you. Nobody from home seems to need you like you thought they were going to need you. Nobody is sitting down having dinner with you. No, you're sitting in your hotel room or whatever the case may be, eating dinner alone. So about that second week, it really kind of would creep in. And so that was really difficult for me. And I forgot the second part of your question or your second question.
Great. What advice would you give that person in that situation starting out?
I would say make friends with the fellow adjusters. Go to the war room and surround yourself with people, because even though they're not necessarily your loved ones at that point, if you're on a lengthy deployment, they're going to become like family.
Yeah.
Those people are also going to help you and walk you through this process. And so you do create bonds and connections and ties. I have adjusters from all over that I still touch base with. They still touch base with me. We discuss our sorrows and heartaches and, family members that we've lost and things that we're, working through. And so I would say, make those connections, become friends with those individuals. And like all of us here in the 360 Adjuster Academy know, we've all done that.
Yes.
And that's what has brought us here to help all of you new adjusters or pre-licensed adjusters. What's gonna say?
I 100% agree. Some of my closest friends to this day right now are adjusters I met 2 years ago. So make friends on the road. Like those are
Yes.
my boys.
And have discernment,
Yes,
because some people are
absolutely.
busters. Have discernment too. Some people just aren't
True.
going to be good for your mental.
Oh yeah,
'Cause I just
and
want to
that's
make sure you
another
point that
thing.
out, because everybody can't be your
Yes,
friend in the war room.
everybody cannot be your friend, and also don't take advice from everybody,
Right.
because even the adjusters who like to get up there and feed their own ego and gloat and talk about how they've been adjusted for 18 years and all of this nonsense, they have a tendency also to get stuck in certain ways. They don't necessarily latch on to some of the newer technology. There's just a lot of things that not all information is good information. So discernment is a very important factor.
Right.
And yes, avoid the negativity. I'm trying to still read with Walker, who is apprehensive. What advice would you
That
give
boy
new
gave you a
adjusters
paragraph, huh?
about getting all right? And for some reason, my font is really big right
That
now, so
boy,
it looks
geez,
enormous.
going crazy. Oh, I'm excited. Type everything up. Go, Dennis. Oh, yeah, question.
What advice would I give a new adjuster who is apprehensive with the new beginning, with walking roofs and walking around houses alone, etc.? What advice would I give them? I will tell you, as a woman in the industry, I was a little apprehensive going on inspections alone in the beginning. I was my first deployment was in South Carolina. There's some areas in South Carolina that were rather stick-ish. I felt like I was in the sticks in some of those places. And as a woman, that can be very intimidating. And I would say, number one, know that the majority of the time you have your management behind you. Anytime you feel uncomfortable in a situation, reach out to them and they will 100% step up, even if they need to send another adjuster, a trainer, or a manager to an inspection with you.
Yes.
You are not alone in this situation in any stage of it, whether it's from pre-licensing and us walking you through the process, whether it's being on deployment and needing information, somebody is going to be there to help you. If it's not one of us in this group, it will be somebody with your IA firm or your upper management or even your carriers. I have had some really fantastic team managers, TMs with the carrier that I've primarily worked for. I've worked directly with them on many, many deployments, and they're very helpful. There's only been maybe twice that I've ran into a situation where I felt like, I never want to work for that TM again. So
Oh, yeah,
that's
definitely.
saying a lot.
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Ricky.
All right. How well did your oil and gas background help you out when you were in the field?
Okay, so my oil and gas background, it wasn't okay. So let me correct myself. My last position was construction oriented. I was a construction project manager for a pipeline company, and so that experience helped me a minute part just to understand that there are steps to the construction or the reconstruction process that have to be followed accordingly. But really, what prepared me for being an adjuster really falls back on my personality style and the fact that I am air traffic control. Um, I can recite policy language to policyholders in my sleep. So my legal background there, really helped with that, but more apt my air traffic control tendencies. And I'm not saying that any other personality style would be different, but what I'm saying is understand your personality style, know how to capitalize on your superpower, whether it's air traffic control or grounds crew or flight attendant. Just use that, because if you are your true self in this situation as an adjuster, whether it be with your managers or your policyholders, you're going to come off 100% authentic, right? And that's going to get you very far, because as your managers have a tendency to lean towards you, like if you're the class favorite, so to speak, or something, they will help you along the way. And that's really the most beneficial part of understanding who you are as a person, so that you can be 100% genuine and authentic, because you'll win with the policyholders and you will also win with your management.
So I can take that as it enhance your communication skills with the policyholders in allowing them to understand exactly what's going on.
Absolutely. And knowing myself and knowing where my strong suits are and leaning into that and reaching out on the things that I need help with. Because I'm not going to lie. Even as an experienced adjuster at this point, there are still moments where I'm like, what the heck? Like, I can't get through to this policyholder. Like, they're just coming off so brash. And, I don't know how to soften myself enough to get in their good graces. Like, and sometimes you just have to reach out for assistance with that, and your managers again will back you. If you have a testy policyholder that you're just not getting through to, who thinks they deserve the world because they pay their insurance premiums every month, those policyholders, or I'm sorry, those managers will, they'll support you and back you, I would say 95% of the time. Some managers don't want to get involved. They want you to be the face of the firm. They want you to be the face of the carrier. And so, but they will coach you through it. Right. And so if you can understand that policyholder and know what their personality style is and what exactly it is that they need, you can give your management enough information that they can help you. So it's kind of like the help me help you situation.
Nice. Be transparent with your managers as well. Don't hide anything from them. Tell them everything, and they'll help you.
Absolutely. Even when you're going through hard times. Um, even when you're going through hard times, let them know that you've got things that you're going through and it's starting to weigh on you and you need a little bit of assistance in maneuvering through your claim load. Um, so our 8-month deployment in Minnesota, I was a closer. And so they just started dumping more and more claims on me as they realized what I could handle. And I'm talking, this is was my third deployment. It was my first hail deployment, and they were putting reconciliations on me left and right to the point where my 40 count claim load went to 76 count claim load just because they just kept dumping more and more on me. And so there was a point where I had to reach out to management and be like, you know what? I am literally drowning at this point. I am, I would be closing because I would be staying awake until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, making sure that these claims were closed. But it got to a point where I just couldn't maintain that pace. And so reaching out to my management, letting them know that I was literally drowning in this situation and they couldn't see it happening, they 100% worked with me. Okay, we're going to shut your claims off for now. So they would shut it off so that you wouldn't get any new claims for, whatever amount of time that you needed to catch up. And you start right back over again. You get right back in that cycle. You work your claims down to a manageable level of say 30 or 25 claims and keep trucking. They'll turn you right back on and move forward. And that's how you end up staying on deployment for long periods of time as well, being completely transparent with them about what your struggles are. Coach Ryan, you got a question?
Yeah, I do. When you said they were throwing reconciliations your way, I think that's the term I heard you use. What is a reconciliation?
So a reconciliation is when the first adjustment came out and doesn't match the estimate that is issued by their contractor. So you go in and you write up the scope, prepare an estimate, provide it to the policyholder, and it looks somewhere in the ballpark of, let's say, $20,000 for a very heavy loss, right? And then the contractors come back with an estimate that is 35,000. So now as the adjuster, it is your job to go through the two estimates, compare them line item by line item, and reconcile the differences between the two. And it is also then your job to provide reasons that these requests are warranted, or provide the reasons that these requests are going to be denied.
Okay, and that answers my question perfectly. But I also just wanted to say, that was great insight about, when your claim or your caseload becomes overwhelming, they'll kind of, stop giving you new claims so that you can work it down to a manageable level. 90% of my adjusting experience is desk. And so I'm handling, anywhere from 100 to 125 claims at a time. And so, where I was at, there was no, we stopped giving you new claims, so that's great insight to have, especially, for somebody that's going through a new beginning,
Right. Absolutely.
Whoop, whoop. That was good.
Anybody have any more questions?
Any
Okay,
more?
great. I am going to hand it back over to Kayvon, I believe, and he's going to let y'all know what we have coming up for next week and next month.
Indeed. So again, I want to remind everyone in here, if you can please fill out the feedback form for us. And if you guys have any questions, again, like I said, you can reach out to us, on our socials. You can drop the link to our socials in the chat one more time. But with that being said, I would like to say thank you, Toby, for giving us that information, your experience, that insight. We truly appreciate it. It's always great to hear another story and hear about a fearless decision being made and hearing about new beginnings constantly. So we want to say thank you. So for our closing announcements, like I said, feedback forms, I would like to remind everyone as we go ahead and get back to getting out into the field, or even well, I don't know if desk can go component, but out field, if you're in the field, we're challenging everyone that's adjusters to make that 100K club. We're trying to get more members in our community to reach the goal of making $100,000 in 1 month. So I want to remind you guys that whenever you get a deployment, if you go component, let's go ahead and try to reach that goal and accomplish that. So next week, we will be having another Laboratory of Redemption meeting. It will be week 30. Our topic for next month will be fearlessness, and that's why I kept emphasizing being fearless. This current month was new beginnings. Next month will be fearlessness. So we'll get more into that in our next upcoming meeting. So we hope to see everyone in here, spaces once again, or your black screens with your name at the bottom. So again,
cameras on.
Turn your cameras on. So next week, our special guest speaker will be Dr. Lee Richardson of the Brain Performance Center of Dallas, Texas. They will be speaking on anxiety, growth mindset, and neuroplasticity. So if you guys would like to hear some great information, some new stories and experiences, please join us next week. We have another great meeting coming up. And to conclude this meeting, we do have one more thing coming up from Coach Ryan Walker. We have a financial tip of the week. Like we said at the 360 Adjuster Academy, we do train and develop new and existing adjusters, but we also focus on the human side. So here's one of our examples of how we focus on the human side with Coach Ryan coming and give us the financial tip. So
yo, what's going on, y'all? Okay, so look, I kind of feel like, y'all know how James Brown had this thing after the performance. He's going off stage, he's got the cape on his back, and he's like, oh, I gotta come back. Yeah, maybe we gonna bring this tip in so late in the wind down. I feel like James Brown coming back right now. How y'all feeling today? How y'all feeling?
Feeling great. How you feeling today?
All right. I need some chat back. All right. I'm gonna keep this short and sweet.
I'm sorry,
what I have
Ryan.
for you.
Let me interrupt you real quick. I couldn't find my mute button, so I wasn't fast enough. You asked how we were all feeling tonight. Like a winner was my response.
Oh,
what you saying?
Hey, look, that's the great thing about sports. You got winners, you got losers, man. And hey, I love it. I love it. So I need some chat back, y'all. Let's have some fun. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. If you have an additional source of income right now, whatever it is, whether it's a side hustle, business, a second job, if you have an additional source of income, put a 1 in the chat. Yeah. I'm not gonna look at it till I get at least 2 or 3. So give me some chat back. 1, if you do have an additional source of income.
Chat back.
All right. Yeah, I need some chat back. All right. Secondly, put a 2 in the chat if you have a hobby or passion that you feel could become a business if you had the time. Okay. Now, 2 means you don't have that additional source. You're fully sufficient with what you have, but if you had the time, you probably would. Right? Now, let me look. I appreciate it. I'm seeing some chat back. Nice. That's
so funny, man.
That's about a 50-50 mix. That's perfect, because that's really kind of what the world is, right? Some do, some just haven't gotten there yet. I don't know if you guys know, but tomorrow is like the official day that the IRS is going to be receiving tax returns, right? They're making the final decision on some tax credits. I think it's the child tax credit, raising almost $700. That's cool and fine. But what I feel like you guys should be really getting excited about is when you're an adjuster and you go through those stretches where you make a lot of money, how do you make it count for you, right? And we do that with what we call a Schedule C, okay? Now, a Schedule C is going to allow you to take advantage. Okay, and I got my son trying to bust into the office right now, so I got to kind of wrap it up. A Schedule C is where you put your business income. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second.
Yay, a Schedule C. You know, I want to continue with them. So, how about football, guys?
Go Lions.
How about them Cowboys?
Looking like they
All
won.
right. Daddy, do
He's back now, guys. Let's pipe down.
I said about that. All right. So what this Schedule C is going to do for someone that does have that second business, right, and something that you already have going, that Schedule C allows you to take that income and go and put it on your tax return and use it to get funding, right? But if you don't have that going and let's say you just don't have the time and you want to get to it, it's going to benefit you because when you want to go and get that funding, you got to have 2 years of a Schedule C, right? So whether you are, you have that actual business or you don't have that business, we still need to be supplementing that income with something, right? That income is real estate. Now, we talk about this often. Why real estate? Because you need to own your property, because with taxes, everyone that owns a home, let's say it's called depreciation. This is something that you put on your Schedule C. The depreciation on your Schedule C is going to deduct a certain amount from whatever your business makes, even if your business made zero, right? If your business didn't make any dollars, but you own real estate, the depreciation on a property that's $200,000 is $8,000 a year, right? So when you make $80,000 in 4 months and you have a high tax bill to go along with it because maybe you don't have dependents, right? Not only that, that investment property is adding to your net worth, right? But in order for you to start this process to even hold real estate under your business, you got to have 2 years on your Schedule C. So even if you haven't started that business yet, do what you need to do to have your LLC set up legitimately and put it down on your tax return. Because whether you start next year or the year after, whenever you get started, you'll be able to do something to actually add to your net worth in the process of doing that hobby, that business, or that passion, or whatever it is that you use to balance out this new beginning. So sorry for the interruption, guys, but that's what I got for y'all. Take advantage of Schedule C's. Tax returns or tax season officially starts tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Coach Ryan. That was awesome. Definitely learned something new with that. And I will be contacting you for some help. So I appreciate it.
Yeah, please contact me on that, guys. Like it's a lot to it to go deeper on, to really put yourselves in a great position. Do not hesitate to call me to pick my brain, shoot me a text or something like that. I'm always here for you guys.
Awesome. Well, we thank you for that. Thank you for the financial tip. Definitely will be implementing that to my life personally. I hope everyone else benefited from that as well. But that's all that we have for this week, week 29 of Laboratory of Redemption. I would like to thank everyone that has joined us this week and anyone that's been in weeks in the past. Thank you for the countless support and being a part of the community. We truly appreciate you very much. And one more time, I would like to thank Ms. Tobbie Ro for helping us with the information that she gave us. It was awesome. Got a couple claps in the chat. All right. So once again, fill out those feedback forms. If you have any questions, reach out to us on social media. Believe that we dropped the links in the chat. But if we have any other final questions, or if we don't, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you for attending 360 Adjuster Academy Laboratory of Redemption. Hope you all have a great Sunday.